Hello, lovely red buses and green trains. So I know that yesterday when we did our number learning, we looked at recapping all the different numbers we've learned, recognising those numbers, writing those numbers, finding the right number blocks. We did all those lovely things to try and rejog your memory about the numbers that we've been looking at. And today we're going to try and rejog your memory to do with part, whole. Okay, so if we remember, two parts make one whole, and we're going to be looking at that today. Okay, so first of all, let's just have a look at the part whole model. Okay, so at the top, we're going to have the whole. So it's going to look like this. So this is a whole pizza. That's a whole pizza, not a hole in the ground. You know we don't talk about those when we talk about part whole. We're talking about the whole pizza. And if we look at that pizza, we can break that pizza up into two parts. So if we have a whole, we can break it up into two parts, and those two parts come together to make the whole. Okay, so here we have the whole pizza, here we have part of a pizza, and here we have another part of a pizza. Let's look at that with something else. So we might have a whole apple, and you might need to share that apple. So we're going to break the apple into two parts, one part in that side and one part in that side. So if you're looking at this part whole model, at the bottom we have two parts, and at the top we have the whole, because two parts make the whole and one whole can be broken up into two parts. Okay, so we're going to try doing that with the number blocks. Okay, so on this page you'll see the number blocks episode, The Whole of Me, and that's really helpful for this number learning lesson. Okay, if you give that a watch, it will really help you. So let's take a look at our first number blocks. So number one, if we take a look at number one, we can't break number one into two parts because it's just one cube. He's one square. We can't break that up, can we? It's just got to be one. So one cannot be broken into two parts. But let's look at the next one. Let's look at two. So if we have here, we have two. Now let's see if I can break two into two parts. I can. So if we watch, look, I had two cubes and I've broken them up into two parts. Now in one part I have one, and in the other part I have one. So the number two can be broken up into two ones. And if one's a part and one's a part, then the whole must be two. That's all you can make with one and one. So let's see what we can do with some of the other number blocks. Okay, so we have three. So let's take a look at the number block three. Got lots of cubes here, and I've just thought I'm going to match the colours. So if we have number three, like we do at the top here, lovely number three, let's see what parts we can break three up into. So if I want to break three up, I can break three up into one and two. So if one's a part and two's a part, the whole is going to be three. So three can be broken into two parts, two and one, and the two parts, one and two, can make the whole three. Look at that. Okay, so one and two must make three. So if you got that right, well done. Looking at breaking these number blocks into parts. Okay, now I'm moving on to a trickier one, so I hope you're ready. Okay, so now it's getting a bit trickier because we're looking at number four. Now, number four can be broken into two parts in two different ways. Let's take a look at the first way. So if I've got my four squares, my four cubes, I'm going to break it into two parts. So I've got how many in this part? Let's see. I've got two in one part and I've got two in the other part. So if I have the whole four, four can be broken into two parts and make two and two. And if we have one part with two and another part with two, they can come together to make the whole four. Okay, so if we have a look, 2 and 2 makes 4. So if 2 is apart and 2 is apart, the whole is 4. Again, that number blocks episode is really good for this, okay? Because you're about to see how 4 can be broken up in a different way. Are you ready? So say we've got our 4 cubes again, that's our whole. I can also break 4 up into 3 and 1. So let's see that. So I've got 3 squares in one part and 1 square in another part. So if 3 is apart and 1's apart, the whole is 4, and 4 can be broken up into 1 and 3, just like we see here on our part-part whole model. Okay, so let's look at that. And also, what you'll also know is if I've got 3 here, you know from what we did last time that 1 more than 3, 3 add 1 more is 4. So you should know that one way of breaking up 4 is 3 and 1. Okay, now let's take a look at the biggest number that we're going to look at the parts of today. So the biggest number block we're going to look at is number 5, okay? And so the whole we're starting with is 5. We're going to see a couple of ways of breaking up 5 now. So I'm going to lighten the side so it's easy for me to break. So 5 can be broken up into 3 and 2. So we can have the whole is 5. How many in this part? 1, 2, 3. And how many in this part? 2. So 3 and 2 more make 5, and 5 can be broken up into 2 and 3. Okay, we're going to look a bit more next week at number bonds to 5 because we need to try and remember these in our head. So we're going to look at them a bit more next week, but we're just having a recap of them today, looking at the parts that make 5. So we know that we can have 3 and 2, and we know that if we add them together, we get 5. Now let's have a look at another way of breaking up 5, okay? So your one more learning is going to help with this. Okay, so another way of breaking up 5 is 4. And if I've got 4 in one part, how many is in the other part? 1. 1. Okay, so the whole 5 can be broken up into 2 parts, 4 and 1. And the 2 parts, 4 and 1, can come together to make the whole 5. So just like we see on our part-part whole model over here. So let's see, we've got 4 and 1, and you know as well that 4 plus 1 more is 5, because you know that 1 more than 4 is 5. If we add them together over here, we make the whole 5. Okay, so again, make sure you look at that number blocks episode on this page. That will really, really help your learning. There's also a sheet for you to do, but you can do this learning activity in any way that makes sense for you. So on the sheet, we have got the part-part whole model, but you can make this as hula hoops, you could do it with chairs or tables or on your floor or carpet. And you can have a whole, which is a given number up to 5, and then have a go at breaking that number up into different parts into 2 other smaller circles. Okay, you have a go at that in any way you can at home. You could break up objects, it could be buttons, you could cut out pictures, you could draw it, you can do it any way that works for you. But I would love to see this learning on Tapestry, okay, because it's really going to feed well into what we do next week with number bonds to 5. So I'll see you next time, guys. Okay,